Is there. All right. Welcome again to Doctor Who Mummy on the Orient Express review. Tonight, aside from all today's stuff, we're going to have Spud's going to be joining us. We're going to have Sam Hargrave is going to be joining us as well. And I think that's going to be it. But also, you've got me and we've got Clara and we've got Izzy. So what more could you want? If you guys have got things that you would like to say about tonight's episode, I am going to clear the questions now. So the whole thing's been cleared. So if you want to talk about tonight's episode, do exclamation mark question, and then it'll appear up for me, and I can put some of them up on the screen. All right. So let's get started with it.
Okay.
Do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
You go first.
Not really.
I want to go first.
Oh.
It's fine, you go first.
Okay. Well, I was building myself up now. I really liked it.
Did you?
Really I think my favourite episode of the series so far, because it wasn't the scariest, and it wasn't the most like one that made you kind of think, and it wasn't the one that made you it wasn't kind of like the most sci-fi one, and it wasn't the most historical, but it just everything it tried to do, it did really well. And, it just hit all the right note. And obviously you wouldn't want every episode to be like that, but it was great. You had the nasty monster, tick. You had the nasty opening that makes you go, oh no, that was a little bit too disturbing, but that's Doctor Who, so you've got to have it in there. Tick. You've got the Doctor acting weird, and being kind of like, confused and worried, but actually him saving the day at the end, which I haven't always had. It is called Doctor Who. Tick. It had genuine kind of relationship dramas going on between him and his companion. Tick. It had some really cool, genuinely funny moments in there. Like jelly babies in the thing, in the are you my mummy? Type thing. So tick. And and I could just carry on, But I thought it was a really fun episode with lots to kind of enjoy, lots of stuff. It felt long as well, like,
it did feel quite long, actually.
But like one of those ones where it feels long, but actually I'm kind of like, no, I'm enjoying this. This can kind of carry on. The end, the way he defeated the mummy at the end. I mean, sometimes how sometimes they set up a good story and then it's let down by an ending. Let's go. And I thought it was good. It was a soldier. They found a way out of it with it still being a kind of like a scientific-y alien reason without being silly. And it worked nicely, and then it sets up mystery about, maybe who is Gus. Maybe they'll go back to it. Maybe they won't go back to it. If I have to be critical, probably the only bit I didn't really like was the Clara at the end being kind of like, oh, I'm leaving. And then kind of, it felt like she turned around. We had a car alarm going off right at the end, and so it was quite hard for me to. We had a car alarm going off like for the last 20 minutes, and I was there going. So I might have.
Part of the reason Izzy's still awake.
I'm not surprised. But that bit I wasn't so keen on. She seemed to kind of flip a little bit, kind of too much, or kind of lose her ideas. But I thought it was a really good quality episode. You may now give the complete opposite view.
I actually agree with you. It must be your birthday, because this happens once a year. I agree with you completely. I thought it was just the right amount of scary.
Mm-hmm.
At the very beginning, Addy said to me, can I turn the light off? This is going to be too scary. And I was like,
I did. It's true.
I was like, don't be ridiculous. I'm like a bit too old to be scared by Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And then the mummy came on, and I was like, ah! So it did have the scare factor, but it didn't have the kind of gore, nasty thing. So just the right amount of scariness. I thought that the concept was a good kind of concept of who the mummy was and why they were trying to defeat him was good. Just the right amount of mystery, like a genuine mystery as well. I didn't solve it in the first 5 minutes. I liked
and little twists along the way about actually no, everyone's here for that reason, and because it was the Orient Express as well, that bit where the Doctor turned around and kind of everyone's time was like, oh, this is the Poirot scene, type thing,
and slightly off topic, every time they showed the Orient Express going through space, it made me think of the Coca-Cola out Christmas adverts.
Made me think of the Polar Express, but cool trains either way, which was very, very cool. Really enjoyed the episode, and it sounds like you did too. What did you think of the whole Clara Doctor dynamic, because it was a surprise to me that she walked out of the TARDIS with him at the beginning of the episode.
Well, you actually asked me twice, is that Clara?
Because she had different hair and makeup.
You were like, is that actually Clara? Yes, that's actually Clara.
Well, because they deliberately last week she left him last week, and I think, as far as I can tell, they deliberately didn't show her in the trailer for this week, which implies that they wanted to keep that open. But she was there, and they didn't show the reconciliation scene, which is kind of a scene I might like to have seen.
And Let's Play Nintendo with her has said that it was strange to see Clara back after the ending last week, but maybe it was Danny who convinced her.
I think they probably decided what they wanted to do was have an episode that was about the Orient Express mystery, not about them, maybe. The reconciliation. They decided, well, that scene isn't necessary. So I get it, but it was weird to see her walk out the TARDIS.
So in answer to your question, I liked the dynamic between the Doctor and Clara through the episode. I do like the fact that she's not completely obsessed with him and kind of hanging on his every word like some of the other companions have been. I wasn't so keen as you weren't on the quick turnaround at the end when she was on the phone to Danny. And initially she was like, oh yeah, I'm not coming back. And then all of a sudden she was like, oh yeah, he's completely fine with it.
Yeah.
And obviously we know that she was lying about that, but it was a very, very quick kind of turnaround.
Yeah. But I might watch that again. I might feel differently, but I'd be interested to hear what you guys said. Okay, let's bring in Sam, and we'll bring in Spud in probably about 5 minutes or so. Hopefully our connection with Sam will work. So Sam, you'll need to turn off the stream so you can hear what we're saying. Obviously Izzy will squeak at you. Hello, Sam. Are you there?
Yes, Sam.
Oh, hang on. You're quite quiet for me. Let me just turn up the volume. Can you just count to 10 for me?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, cool. Got you. So what did you think of tonight's show, Sam?
I really liked it. I thought it was something quite different, and I agree that it was quite nice that they left the thing open last week whether or not Clara would be in it.
I thought the way they would go from the trailer was they'd have an episode without Clara, which they've done in the past, and then something would happen to draw them back together a couple of hours time. So it was surprising to see her back. Cool. What else did you think?
Yeah, I thought that it was quite a nice mystery with quite an interesting monster, and it created almost like a murder mystery kind of idea.
Well, obviously borrowed heavily from the Poirot Orient Express idea, but did it with a very much a kind of a Doctor Who twist, which was great. You kind of like I said earlier, there was tributes to Poirot, there was tributes to the 1930s, tributes to, I think Einstein walked past at one point. When they were kind of said, all of you scientists have been gathered here for various reasons. I think they had a few kind of cameos kind of around. Was there anything you didn't like about the episode?
I don't think Clara should have been in it. I kind of almost let that whole thing go in too soon. I would have liked an episode without her. Because that kind of would have shown how mad she really is. But just she proper was at the last episode screaming and shouting at him. But this week she was just turned up, she was quite calm, just it's her last adventure.
I agree. I think with all of the emotion last week of her leaving, it would have cemented that, and also given the viewer us as viewers a chance to kind of go, do we miss her? Do we want her to go? How do we feel about their split? So I do think it would have been nice of them to put another episode in there, and because they've done it before. We talked about it last week. I think Midnight with David Tennant has very little Donna in it whatsoever. Turn Left is very little Doctor. There is a precedent for companion. And also all of the between episodes are companion free, aren't they? Like all the Tennant ones that were between the series were without the companion. So I agree with you that I think actually Clara being in this episode was fine, but I would have liked another episode in between the two without her in it.
That could have made up a 13-episode run as well.
Yes, indeed, would have given us another episode. I was talking to Lee from Tiny Rebel Games the other day, and they were talking about how the series was starting to wind down, and I was like, no, don't do that.
Too soon.
They go to. We and Clara always found with the the Matt Smith episode. They had the series in two halves. You'd barely kind of get into the series, and it would be over. At least this one's all in one go.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing
And
starts, I like to week in, week out get into it, but I think when they did that split, it just kind of didn't really have a chance to like, I didn't feel like I was getting into the idea of Doctor Who being back on every week until we got like the Caretaker, and before that was like done already.
Well, with this longer series, I think you've really been able to see the kind of changes in the Doctor as well. I mean, I'm sure other people are going to mention this, but like the Doctor, the first couple of episodes was very much kind of saying, "Who am I? I don't know who I am. I've lost my identity." But now he's obviously got far more confident in his regeneration. He knows his personality, and he also knows where he's come from as well. Jelly babies, are you my mummy? He's directly referring to previous incarnations of himself. He knows who they are. Anything else you'd like to say, Sam?
Yeah, you see that guy, the mystery of Cat, who set it up? Right, I thought that we're kind of supposed to think that it's Missy.
Yes, I think that was obviously the way they were hoping we would think, like who's this power, and I kind of thought, yeah, maybe it'll be her, but it could be, and yet they could swing it around. I kind of wondered, if they were going to swing it towards the Frank Skinner character, because they kind of hinted at it a few times. Yeah. They said, well, is it going to be you? And he was like, he laughed at it, but often that's a way of kind of going, oh no, it was. But yes, no, again, there wasn't a Missy scene in this one, or as far as we know.
Because, that the whole woman in the shop thing, whoever that is, I think it's going to be the same person as this, because like with that they were trying, whoever it was trying to bring Clara and the Doctor together, but like this episode kind of made Clara want to stay with the Doctor, so it's kind of that same thing, kind of wanting to keep them together.
Yes, I mean, certainly Clara seems to have now decided she's going to be a long-term companion again. So as we leave in today's episode, they're back. But the rumours still suggest that she will be going at the end of the series. But who knows? Who knows?
They're throwing red herrings a bit, aren't they? Like, this is supposed to make us think it's the end.
Yes, I mean they certainly, like last episode, made us kind of think that she was going to be the companion to walk away, but now she's decided she's coming back, and they've also to an extent justified his behaviour towards her as well. Like they haven't maybe go, well, it's all right then, but he in that scene on the beach at the end, he was very much kind of saying, well, this is kind of how I work, and this is why, and this has to be the kind of end result of it. Hey Sam, thanks for joining us on the show again. It's always a pleasure to have you on, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. If we could have some thanks towards Sam from the chat, that would be great. So thanks a lot, Sam.
If I could just do a quick plug for my site, check out my site, allthingsdoctorwho.co.uk, with all my, I write articles every week, news and updates on, all things Doctor Who.
All right, thanks a lot. Take care, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.
What did you think of the points that we made there, Mrs. Bose?
Oh yeah, I agree with them. I think perhaps we could have done with an episode in between.
Yeah.
He was kind of saying that he kind of moved on from Clara a bit and needed a bit of space.
Yeah, I
can appreciate that. And I definitely think that the Missy thing could come back round at some point.
I mean, I'm sure the Missy thing was that will, but I think there's been a few episodes now where there could have been an easy Missy inclination. I mean, the people who were killed by the mummies, you could easily put kind of a little Missy thing in. Speaking of strange women in far-off afterlife places, Spud has joined the stream.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Did you see all the cool gifts and stuff?
I saw from the makeup one. I didn't see before that.
The makeup?
You missed the birthday cake with candles, which Izzy loved.
Izzy's cried all over them. Like actual tears.
Actual tears, brilliant. Actual tears are cool, but not really. I'm being sarcastic. Obviously, I don't like the fact that your baby cried. Sorry. Anyway,
no, she was alright. She was good. We're loving it. Are you going to be the harbinger of doom that brings us back down to land?
No, I liked it as well.
Yay! It's a full house. Everyone hands in, everyone.
I thought to myself when you said you loved it, and then you hit all the points that I loved it as well, and I was like, you mother, and then. Clara liked it as well. I was like, this is going to be really boring. Just everyone going, yeah, it was really good. What do you think? Really good. Yeah, me too. Okay, then. But everything you said, basically.
But I think it's nice sometimes to have just a review where you kind of go...
Everybody lives.
And everybody lives.
there were certain bits that I thought. Well, number one, the trailer. I thought I was going to hate it. I hated the Titanic episode. Not so much the working of the episode with David Tennant one, just the fact that there was the Titanic in space. But even that didn't annoy me. At first off, I was like, "Oh, Orient Express in space, duh," and I was like, "Well, actually, that's quite it's working." And then initially, with I think me and Mrs. Spud just went, "Why is Clara with him? Why are they acting completely normal?" And within like a minute, they started to address it, and it was like, "Okay, fine, you got me there as well." And then the doctor, whoever, I have to find out who wrote this episode. They juggled so many things so well at the same time. Like the doctor was nasty but heroic at the same time. He was caring and horrible at the same. It's like, this is really good. I was so surprised. I liked it so much, but by the end,
he was so cold. I said it to Clara at the time, but those scenes where he was just like, you're going to die in 60 seconds, but tell us what he looks like. Tell us what he looks like. Oh, I'm going to die. Yeah, no, but make these last seconds count. He was incredibly cold in those scenes, but you see where he's coming from. But at the same time, it's like, where's your compassion?
Completely agree. As you know, one of my favourite small scenes of Matt Smith's era was the Time of Angels, or I can't remember which one's called which, but the one where he goes, Amy's like, "Oh my god, I'm going to die," and he's like, "Okay, yeah, no, oh, I'm really scared," and he's like, "Yeah, cool shot, you're going to die," and it was that bit, is the bit where he was like, yeah, you're going to die, obviously. So tell me what you're seeing. It's like, wow, you're so horrible, but it made me laugh, obviously, because horribleness is funny to a certain degree.
Well, it has been a consistent theme of his character that every episode, or at least every episode, there's a line towards someone who is probably going to die that shows that he really isn't interested in individuals and is far more interested in the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Harshly at times.
And I'm not convinced he was planning to save that the last woman, the one he scanned and put her guilt and everything and frustration and anger and all that other stuff in his head. I'm pretty sure because he felt a little bit guilty because Clara made him feel guilty, and he just thought of that on the spot. That's the vibe I got from the way he was acting it. But yeah, I liked all of it. The only bit I didn't like, and I think again you've mentioned that as well, was Clara at the end. "Oh, I'm leaving. Oh, no, I'm not leaving now for some really bad reason. My boyfriend doesn't mind."
This car alarm was going off and off, and it's like we couldn't really make out all the dialogue. What did you take as her reason to change her mind?
Well, again, Mrs. Spud asked me, what did he say on the phone? Because we were both watching it. It was like, I don't know. I think she was trying to get at the fact that he was okay with him and, her being with the doctor and being dangerous.
I thought that was an excuse. I thought because I didn't entirely hear what he said on the phone, but I took it as that she was kind of going, "Oh yeah, it was just him, but don't worry now." I thought it was her.
It could be. It's just it didn't communicate that well to us. If it was like a book, then we could understand exactly what was going through her head, but we don't. We just have to go with what she was acting. And I really didn't get where she was going with it. I mean, yeah, he saved everyone, but all her points were still valid about him lying. But he's always lied. He's just more honest about lying now. Well, like Matt Smith's one lied all the time. Everything he said was blatantly a lie. But this one's like,
rule one, Doctor lies, isn't it? I mean, they're open about it. He's not.
But this one, when you call him on it, he goes, yeah, straight away. There's no just messing around. Where the other one would be like, "Oh no, let's just whip my hair around or be handsome or whatever the case may be with a particular doctor." But I don't.
And there was the thing in this one where he was like, where she was like, he was like, "Oh, I've brought you to this nice trip. What better way to say goodbye?" And then she finds out 3/4 of the way through that actually he knew there was going to be a problem here, and he brought her anyway.
Yeah, but the doctor's always done that. The doctor's always. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but there's been loads of episodes where you knew this was going on. He's like, yeah. He's always like that. I don't get where she's coming from, but hey, still an awesome episode. So.
Let's get some comments from the audience and the posse. Yes, Izzy, that's a good comment. We all agree with that in the episode. Small Blue Monkey. I'm not sure this is going to appear up on the screen because I've got some font issues there. But Small Blue Monkey says, "Is it going to encourage Lee to make a 66-second time attack on Doctor Who Legacy?" That would be cool. That would be cool with a timer counting down in the corner, or a 66 turn game or something like that would be very cool. Hoovian 1963 says, "Anyone else like how Capaldi had jelly babies?" Yes, I think that's the first. We had one reference with jelly babies from Matt Smith, I think, where he was when he turned into the Rebel Flesh, And he just kind of said,
yes,
"Would you like a jelly baby?" I think this. Am I right here, Spud? This was the first actual jelly baby.
I think so. I'm trying to remember.
Obviously, this is not
since the original jelly baby.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is not like this is not like a grand so the universe has turned. This is the Doctor Who's jelly baby, but how could it was in a little cigar case?
Yeah,
that's
was
cool.
Kind of like James Bond's jelly baby as well. Would you like a jelly baby? But I think it might be. I feel like there might. I can't think of any other times he said jelly babies, but I did like all the mentions to previous stuff, like "Are you my mummy?" That bit was cool. That was just, I didn't get that until after, and I was like, "Oh yeah, he did say that." I took it literally. Oh yeah, it's mummy, but I didn't get. It's one of my favourite episodes as well. So I should like. Yeah.
Did you this might be me just reading far too much into things, but did you notice how Clara said when she was getting angry at him, she said, "You're lying, and you've made me lie too. Like you've turned me into a liar." And then she turned around to the lady and said, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, "But
I'm sorry.
that's actually still being him. He is turning her into another version of him." And I wonder if that's a theme that will be, taken on further. Matthew 191 says, "Love the episode. Frank Skinner was amazing in it. I loved how they used other stuff from old episodes such as Jelly Babies and Are You My Mummy? A cracking episode, 10 out of 10. J. Laura says, "I love the episode, especially the cigarette case with the jelly babies in it. Seems to be the top moment." Can I just say that I liked the episode for all the other stuff, and the jelly babies was a cool addition. I wasn't like, jelly babies, 10 out of 10. But yeah, I'm glad people are enjoying it. The funny moment with him showing the psychic card with the secret shop, but that was hilarious.
That was actually funny, wasn't it?
That's your biggest fear?
It's the confusion in his face. What? Mystery shop? Yeah, that was good.
And then just kind of going with it and being like, "Oh yeah,
Need some more towels.
Need some more towels."
Dying.
That was good.
What Agent Hulock says, "What do you think about the preview on the Flatline episode? And did you like the Perkins character? He might return." I assume Perkins is the Frank Skinner character. I thought he was a good character. He was one of those guys that's a little bit like, well, you're clearly an engineer, like supposed to be kind of like the lower. This is going to sound ridiculously. I don't know how to describe it, but he wasn't. He was acting far too intelligently for his role on the train.
And the Doctor addressed it once or twice, didn't he?
No, but you know what I mean? He was like picking up like the murder investigator. I don't know. I mean, it was fine. It was fine. I don't think we'll see him again, though. I think he was just a
cameo.
Cameo. In the same way that Bill, whatever his name was a few seasons ago. Sorry,
Frank Skinner has been a massive Doctor Who fan since he was little. Because I was reading an interview before he was cast in this role. I was reading an interview with him anyway because I can't remember. It was somewhere. Anyway, so he's been a fan for years, and he's been trying to get a part in it since it relaunched with Eccleston, and he hasn't been able to until now. So he's probably over the moon that he got the part. But I think they left it open-ended. I mean, there was questions, why was he so on the ball? And the Doctor more or less asked him, would he like to join him? And he was like, I don't know, but they could easily bring him back.
Well, it shows that this Doctor, whereas Tennant ended up in the point where he was just like rejecting companions because he couldn't cope with losing them, whereas Capaldi seems to be back to the hey, come along. I mean, he's taken that the girl from school into space. He invited this person along. I think he's very much a kind of I'm lonely Doctor, which is different. Alvin says today's episode was satisfactory, so not full into it. I mean, it was good, but it didn't grab my attention. It's at least better than the last two episodes. Love the Jelly Babies and Are You My Mummy. Really looking forward to next week, though. I can't actually remember the trailer for next week now. I've completely forgotten it. What did you think of the trailer?
2D people, isn't it?
Next week, 2D.
Oh, 2D. Oh, yeah, that does look quite cool. What do you think of the trailer, Spud?
I'm weary. Every time I think a trailer looks good, apart from Listen being the exception, it's normally bad, and vice versa. Like this one, I thought, and it was awesome. So I'm just gonna not think about it this time. I mean, it looks like it's got potential, but obviously that's what a trailer's for. It picks out the good bits.
It looks a little similar to this week in that it appeared that it was setting up a mystery of why people were getting trapped in 2D type elements, but cool. But cool. I don't know. I try not to overly watch trailers or analyze them because I like to watch things fresh, not knowing. And I talked about this last time with the Time Heist episodes. You know, if you spot things, it ruins the episode when you're watching it if you know something's coming up later. So Someone says it reminds them of Agatha Christie and the Unicorn of the Wasp. Yeah, I mean, it had that, that kind of murder mystery idea. But I would say this was better than the Unicorn of the Wasp. The Unicorn of the Wasp was very, very good. Yeah. Or maybe they're on a par. But this one, I think, did them. Oh, I don't know. The monster was better in this one. Like the wasp was a bit.
The monster was always a bit weak.
I didn't like the wasp one at all. I thought that was terrible.
Well, the whole episode of just the baddie.
The interplay between Donna and the Doctor was very good.
That scene where he was trying to get the antidote was hilarious.
Yeah, I'll just kiss you, spaceman.
That was great, but I didn't like the episode. I thought this was miles better. But I thought Donna, just as general with David Tennant's Doctor, was brilliant. But I thought this one, the mummy looked cool. The mummy looked just like a mummy. It was awesome. I thought that was very good. I think the baddies and stuff are getting a little bit better. Like the effects, maybe they've got access to more money. I don't know.
Snowjoke here says Clara seems unwilling to accept that the Doctor has changed, but she can't let go of life in the TARDIS. I don't know. The scene earlier where she was talking to the other lady. Sorry, I didn't catch that other lady's name. Was they were making out like it was like an ex-boyfriend or romance. They had that kind of like it's a man, and she was like, oh no, it's not. But she obviously was romantically interested in the Doctor before when he was Matt Smith. Because she even said so, didn't she, on the Town at Christmas, when they went through the truth field. And she was just like, she kind of said, oh, he's a guy that I kind of fancy.
Yeah, and they touched upon it on that Cyberman one, where it was like a baddie Doctor in his head, or whatever, at the same time. I think they touched upon it there as well. But I agree. Who said that again? Sorry, I forgot.
No joke. Clara seems unwilling to accept that the Doctor has changed, but she can't let go of life.
Yeah, I agree with that statement, but I wouldn't. Obviously, I like Capaldi's Doctor, but it'd be interesting trying to imagine a friendlier, nicer Doctor to see if that would still be the case. Is it just the fact that he's so nasty, or is it just because he's not Matt Smith? And no friendlier Doctor would help. No.
Well, he had that interesting line at the big on his first episode where he said, "I'm not your boyfriend," and she said, "I know," and he was like, "I wasn't reminding you." Like, so he was trying to tell himself not to act like her boyfriend, but at the same time, he really seems to want her around and need her around. And you could see how happy he was today when she said, I'm going to stay. He was like, woo! So they have this, I think it's a strange relationship they have.
And he did look a bit jealous when she was on the phone as well. And he was trying to pretend like he wasn't listening as well. It was,
and then he was like, oh, what did Danny
Yeah, what did he say? Yeah. Oh, I wasn't listening. I was just playing with the toy. Yeah, it's that.
But I don't think it's romantic. I think it is jealous, but I don't think it's romantic jealousy. I think it's almost a bit like almost like they're, I don't know, like when you have one kid and then another kid comes along and it's like, you're taking the kind of parent around. It's that kind of like, I need this person, and actually now you're the kind of the third wheel. You're having fun with matchsticks. Mm-hmm. What else have we got here? What did we think of the Foxes song? Yeah, very cool version of Queen Don't Stop Me Now. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was cool.
Apparently the singer in it was called Foxes. I don't know anything she's done, but I did see a tweet earlier in the week that she was going to be on it. It was cool. I'm not a big fan of, say, like cameos of singers in these kind of programs because I don't think it's the time or the place. But I thought in this particular case it fitted and it was fine and it wasn't obtrusive. It was setting the scene, wasn't it, more than anything else? Do I remember? This is from Grolt. Do I remember that the 11th once said he wants to go to the Orient Express in space to meet an Egyptian queen? I don't remember that, but if he did, then that's cool. Continuation. Henwar says I didn't trust the Skinner character all the way through. Agniti said, did anyone else think Don't Stop Me Now made anyone else think this is going to be a really good episode really early?
I didn't.
Thought it was a nice song.
I just thought, she's singing a Queen.
I just thought she was singing a song.
A Queen song. Oh, cool. I like Queen. That's the only thing I thought. I didn't even know who she was.
It's weird how like if someone started showing me like a 1930s TV program, I'd probably be reasonably indifferent to it. But if you put Doctor Who in the 1930s, all of a sudden I'm like, cool, it's the 1930s. Do you know what I mean?
Again, yeah, that's why if you show me Downton Abbey, for example, I don't even appreciate the costumes and the effects and the way they've tried to make that look like but today I was going, wow, that really looks really appropriate at the time. Mrs. Spud pointed out that her makeup was wrong. Clara's makeup was a bit wrong for the dress. They clash or something. But I couldn't barely remember what she said, and I couldn't put makeup. I don't understand.
I did have a little think at some point about whether they'd really cut her hair like that or whether she was wearing a wig. And then I realised I didn't care.
I would.
And she was obviously wearing a wig.
I hope they explore who the bad guy was. Because that bad guy was a bad guy. He was proper evil. And I think the Doctor would have good interaction with him if they ever went back to that bad guy. What was his name?
Gus.
Yeah. At first, I thought it might be a kickback to that Titanic episode, where it might be that guy. But he's already, spoilers, sorry. He's already died in that episode. So maybe it was expired. So, but
because they didn't fully explain why he was interested in the mummy, just that he was doing so. But yeah, but it was very, very cold, especially that scene where Clara was finding the records of the previous trains and being like,
evil. No, it's like they were just going through people trying to think. I think, didn't they say they want to replicate it and use the mummy's talents themselves?
Oh, did they?
They were trying to reverse engineer it or something like that once they captured it.
Very cold indeed.
It's horrible. So imagine the Doctor against that.
But obviously the Gus character being a machine would and very kind of cold again would indicate that the enemy behind it might be more mechanical rather than emotional based. Like not necessarily this Missy character, but something more robotic, Dalek, Cyberman, Sontaran perhaps at a push, although they're not mechanical. Do you know what I mean? Because the way it spoke.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I mean, it did show a little bit of emotion in its voice, but definitely like some sort of cybernetic kind of guy, which would go in line with all the rest of the episodes. Normally, they've got something to do with robots in there.
Well, there was that really, really cold bit, like no pun intended, where he flushed the other guys out into space.
Oh, they were just floating by the window. Oh, yeah, that was like, oh my god. And even the Doctor, like the new Doctor, he was like, I have to go, kind of thing.
Yeah, I have to go. Clearly, I'm dealing with something crazy. Which is cool. Anyway, so thank you, Spud. Thank you for joining us on tonight's show, as always. And thank you, Mrs. Pose. Has Izzy fallen asleep? We're going to have some lovely pieces of cake here, and we're going to log off and enjoy the rest of our night, and I hope you guys do the same. Thanks so much for joining us for this review, and thanks again for all the little birthday wishes and stuff. Still waiting for Spud's birthday present to come through.
Well, I haven't seen you yet. It's just today, man. Just today. I just got my birthday present from you on your birthday, which confused the hell out of me, by the way. I was like, oh, hang on, what's happening? Why am I getting something on his birthday? I don't know.
I'm just saying, if everyone in the chat starts booing you, it's not my fault. That's what I'm saying.
I have to go to the chat now to see if this is happening. If they...
Anyway, and everyone watching, thank you so much for coming. As always, I will be definitely on tomorrow, probably carrying on our Terrarian adventure. I might do some Last of Us. And obviously the usuals, Posse Up on Wednesday, Doctor Who Legacy on Thursday, yada, yada, yada. It'd be great to see you around. I think it's actually Lee's birthday on Thursday, if you didn't know. The Doctor Who Legacy stream, I think, is on his birthday. So